Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Vajda. So I'm curious, what comes up for you when I mention the words workplace health and safety? What ideas or thoughts or beliefs come up? What emotions or feelings might you be experiencing? And do you notice any change in physiological sensations in your body? For example, maybe around your neck, your throat, your chest, your belly? Are there any changes in your heart rate or your breathing when you think about workplace health and safety? And you might want to think about these items as we work through this video. So recently I explored workplace health and safety. I Googled workplace health and safety, and I came up with thousands of hits. And I delved into probably 24 of them, white papers, articles, and websites. And the common issues that come up in the vast majority of these resources are listed here in this slide. What I'm intrigued about or curious about is that psycho-emotional issues almost never come up when we talk about workplace health and safety. And for me, psycho-emotional issues are those elements below the tip of the iceberg, which seriously affect workplace health and safety and employees in the workplace, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. And when I say physically, I don't mean ergonomically. I mean the effects of psycho-emotional issues, interpersonal issues that go on in the workplace, effects they have on an individual's immune system, which leads to dis-ease and disease. And I'll talk about this in a little bit. So what I want to do in this video is explore one of these psycho-emotional issues in the workplace that affects productivity and performance, morale, and the like. And that issue is gossip. And gossip not just as gossip, but gossip as a form of workplace violence. So I'm going to begin first with my definition of gossip, and then we'll move to look at signs that tell us that gossip is happening in the workplace. And then we'll move to problems that are caused by gossip. And then we'll explore our attitudes and beliefs surrounding gossip. And then I'll offer you some tools and strategies that we can use to deal and address with gossip effectively. And then I'll finish with some final thoughts. So first, my definition. My definition of gossip is any language that causes harm, hurt, pain, or suffering or confusion that is used outside the presence of the one for whom it's intended. So what are some of the signs that we can look for that would indicate that gossip is happening in the workplace? Well, first, folks are telling others details about a colleague that no one else seems to know. Details about salary, for example, or home or personal issues, health issues, and the like. Secondly, someone begins a conversation with the phrase, "I heard," or "I saw," or a similar phrase. Third, some folks are usually chatting more than they're actually working.
Hey, did you hear that Sherry got moved up to strategic development? I mean, she's been here for less than 2 years. You know, I know she's smart, but she's not that smart. Although I know Tony really likes her. It's all about who you know, isn't it?
Fourth, telling tales out of school, so to speak. So, for example, I was presenting at a conference a few months ago, and mid-morning, we had a break, and a number of us went up on the elevator to our rooms, and at my floor, half a dozen of us or so got off the elevator. And you couldn't help but notice that two of the folks who got off, who knew each other but were not related, went into the same room. I didn't think very much about it, and I don't think anybody else did. But the next morning at breakfast, one of the individuals on the elevator who got off with me was sitting next to another colleague for breakfast. And the person who was on the elevator was relating to this colleague what this person had seen getting off the elevator, these two folks going into the same room. And the tone and tenor of her conversation, the language indicated that she was suggesting they were hooking up. Well, pure and simple, this is gossip. Another example of telling tales out of school or the harm that gossiping caused happened when a friend of mine who was working for a local company, was on a team. And over the course of a few weeks, the team began to notice that one of the team members was leaving early on Wednesday. And as it happened, rumors began to rise and rumors began to surface, and she was having an affair, or she was having issues, et cetera, et cetera. And the truth of the matter was that this woman found out that one of her young children had been diagnosed with a severe form of cancer. And so she needed to leave every Wednesday to take her daughter to the hospital for treatment. This is very personal to her. She didn't want word to get out. She didn't feel comfortable sharing this with anybody. But she found out about the rumors, and she felt obligated. She felt guilty that she had to say something to other folks on the team in order to justify why she was leaving. She was coming in late. She was coming in early. She was leaving late. She came in on weekends. She never missed a deadline with respect to her job responsibilities. But because the rumors started, which caused her own form of pain and suffering, she felt she had to disclose this to the group. That's a form of gossip. And finally, two more signs that gossip may be happening are, first, that some folks are the go-to designees for information or dirt or rumors. And finally, some folks are unwilling to share or be open about their own personal life. They're ready, willing, and able to share information about other folks and listen to information about other folks, but are unable or unwilling to share information about their own personal lives. So that does it for the signs that gossip is happening. So how does gossip lead to problems in the workplace? And what happens when gossip goes unaddressed? Well, first there's a gradual decline in trust and morale. And folks are beginning to walk around as though they're walking on eggshells with this low-grade fever kind of anxiety or fear or discomfort that's generated by a culture that is rife with gossip. Secondly, work productivity decreases because folks get caught up in the drama, and especially those disgruntled employees who are infected by gossip and end up wasting precious company time. Thirdly, anxiety, tension, stress, and more severe mood disorders such as depression and physical health issues like heart disease and diabetes, even addictions, can arise in folks directly and indirectly affected by a toxic work environment. And finally, sadly, unexpected turnover and loss of good talent can occur as a result of this toxic environment. And when word gets out, folks are just not going to want to come and work for this organization or be on this team if it's immersed in a culture of gossip. So before we move on to strategies and tactics to deal with and manage gossip, what do we need to consider about our own beliefs and attitudes surrounding gossip in the workplace? So if we say we want to create a workplace culture that's defined by values such as honesty and respect, integrity, open and honest communication, mutual respect, transparency, trust. We can't condone gossip as, for example, business as usual. Everybody does it. Get over it. It's just part of doing business. Gossip brings people together because they have a common topic, a common theme to talk about, and that brings people closer together. That's really hypocritical. And we need to be sure that the espoused values that we say that we are living are actually, in fact, our 9 o'clock Monday morning values. And if they're not, then something is off, and we need to step back and take a look at ourselves and really see if we're being honest and transparent about the way we create our workplace culture. So another important consideration is that we need to understand the root cause of gossip. And the root cause of gossip is one conscious or unconscious need to be liked, approved, accepted, and acknowledged by others. And one often resorts to gossip as a smokescreen and a cover in an inappropriate way to gain a sense of being fulfilled, of being happy, of being liked and appreciated. It's important to understand this in order to understand what's going on for people when they gossip. Another important consideration with respect to our attitudes and beliefs around gossip is to check ourselves out with respect to our own relationship to gossip. So I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to show you a couple of slides because I think probably the best way to check ourselves out, the best way to inquire about how we are and why we are the way we are about gossip is through a series of self-reflective questions. So I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes while I share some of these questions in the video, and then I'll see you on the other end. So I'm really curious about what you were experiencing while you were looking at these questions, reflecting on these questions. As I mentioned at the outset of the video, I'm curious what feelings and emotions might have come up for you, any sense of discomfort you might have been experiencing, what was going on in your body in terms of your heart rate, your breathing. Were you feeling any discomfort, in physiological discomfort in your body? Did emotions come up for you? Were you angry? Were you resentful? Were you resentful at me for bringing up these questions? I'm just curious because any kind of discomfort that you're experiencing is simply a tug on your sleeve and my sleeve that something needs to be worked out. We need to take a look at something about ourselves with respect to gossip in this case. And the question is, why do I choose to gossip, or why do I choose to not gossip? And this is a choice point. We can move down one path, the conscious path. We can move down another path, the unconscious path. When we make a healthy choice about gossiping, it's based on particular values that you can see here in this graphic. When we make the unconscious or unhealthy choice to gossip, well, it's based on issues that represent the root cause of gossip. And everybody has this choice. Nobody has a gun to our head to gossip. So it's really important to sit and reflect on the question of why do I gossip and why do I choose not to gossip? So positive behavior has benefits and bad behavior has consequences that you see on this graphic here. What are the results? 9 o'clock Monday morning results if we choose to gossip? And what are the results if we choose not to gossip? What are the benefits? What are the consequences? And are we okay with that? So when gossip happens, what are some of the strategies and tactics that can be applied to address gossip or manage it effectively? First and foremost, be a role model, especially if you're in top management. But it really doesn't matter. If you're on the first floor or the 52nd floor, you need to lead by example and be that role model. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see. Don't engage. Politely excuse yourself. Politely and diplomatically walk away. Tactfully change the subject. I need to get back to work. I'm facing a deadline and the like. But be the change you want to see, and you go first. Don't wait for somebody else to begin to take action to stop gossip. Next, institute a 9 o'clock Monday morning zero tolerance policy that gossiping has consequences. This is not baseball. There's no strike two. There's no strike three. That gossiping results in disciplinary action, even termination. Next, have the inner strength and courage to let your boss know so they can reinforce and promote a healthy workplace culture. You don't need to point fingers. You don't need to name names, but you need to have the strength and the courage and the will and the self-discipline to go to your boss to let him or her know that gossip is permeating the workplace and understand that it's their job to manage and lead effectively. A part of effective leading is to curtail gossip in the workplace. Next, meet with employees consistently to speak to dispel rumors. I know of organizations that have a meeting once a week or once a month, and the sole purpose is to dispel rumors. I know of organizations that have a rumor box that they place around the physical plant in different offices and spaces. And if you hear a rumor, just write it down. Again, you don't need to name names or point fingers, but meet with employees once a week, once a month, consistently to dispel rumors. If there's proprietary information that cannot be disclosed, you need to promise employees that as soon as that information is available, you will share it with the employees. Agree to hold one another accountable and respectfully, politely, and tactfully show examples of how another's gossiping behavior is affecting and disrupting the workplace. So, for example, I might go up to Bob after a meeting and say, hey, Bob, really a great meeting. You did a good job. But I wanted to tug on your sleeve about something. At the end of the meeting, when you were talking about Sally and John, and you disclosed some information of a personal nature, and they weren't there to explain, or they weren't there to defend themselves, I felt a little bit uncomfortable. And I was looking around the room, and I'm sure a few other people did too. So I'm curious if you think that that kind of behavior affects morale and trust in the workplace, and whether or not it's appropriate. So I'd just like to know your thoughts. But hold each other accountable. Ignore the gossiper. Always be busy or preoccupied and unavailable. Head down, and don't allow the gossiper to take your precious time. And finally, keep your private life private. If you don't want people to talk about you or anything about you, then don't share personal information about yourself. Keep your private life private. So that's it for tools and tactics and strategies. I hope they work for you. You can test them out. You can try them out. You can discuss them over tea with others and see how others feel about them. So before I finish, I want to offer a few final thoughts, thoughts for reflection. And the first thought I have is, it's not so much a thought as a curiosity. And I'd be curious about your relationship with those who are gossipers. What is that relationship like? And are you one of those who believe that if somebody else is gossiping about someone to you, that it's just going to be a short time before they're gossiping about you to somebody else? I'd be really curious about your relationship with gossiping. Secondly, I'd be curious about, if you're a gossiper, what does gossiping get you? Why do you gossip? Why do you really, really, really gossip? What does it get you? And could you get that, whatever it is, in another way? Could you take more of a deeper interest in your work? Could you take a deeper interest in the people you gossip about? Could you do volunteer work? Could you find another way, basically, to get the acknowledgement, the recognition, the feeling of fulfillment and satisfaction and happiness in another way besides gossip? And more importantly, what kind of legacy do you want to leave for yourself later on while you're living, or even after you're gone? If you're known as a gossiper, is that part of your legacy, and are you okay with that? Next, when you're silent when gossiping is happening, silent means agreement. Silent means you are condoning what's going on in that gossiping experience. When you don't speak up, you're saying you support those who are gossiping. You're contributing to cause harm, pain, hurt, and confusion to the person being gossiped about. There is no innocent bystander when it comes to gossip, as there is no innocent bystander when it comes to a gang rape, and gossip is the equivalent of a gang rape. If you're there, if you're present, if you don't speak up and you don't speak out, or you don't leave, you are complicit. You are colluding in that gossiping experience and that violence. Finally, leadership starts at the top. So if leadership and management is not being proactive about dealing with the gossip issue, then my take is all bets are off, and you just wasted your time watching this video. Leadership comes from the top. Management is responsible. Leadership is responsible for stepping up and stepping out and taking the lead with respect to eliminating and reducing gossip in the workplace. Gossiping is a form of workplace violence. So the important question is, if you're allowing gossip to continue to be fostered in the workplace, what is positive about workplace violence? Why are you allowing workplace violence to permeate your culture, your environment, your organization, your company? There's got to be a reason for it. And be curious what's underneath it. You're not bad, you're not wrong. But just be curious about why you're allowing workplace violence in that sense to continue. You're condoning it, you're rationalizing it, you're justifying it. But it is violence nevertheless. And what's underneath your choice to allow it to happen? So I just want to read this last slide out loud. When a negative culture overtly or covertly resists understanding and proactively working with psychosocial issues such as gossip, the effectiveness of the best programs, policies, and services intended to support your workforce are seriously undermined. Blame and finger pointing, rather than transparency, integrity, and honesty, become business as usual. So now it's up to you. I mean, the elephant in the room has been uncovered. And now it's up to you moving forward with respect to what you want to do or not do, what you want to say or not say, how you want to be or not be with respect to gossip. So thanks very much for taking the time to listen to this video. I wish you well on your journey and take good care.